Day 10. Dunlewy Lough. Familiar surrounds greeted them in the early morning. "Wait a minute," said James, while they were eating breakfast. "Haven't we been here before?" The wolfhound seemed impressed and nodded. "We are back in the foothills of Mount Errigal," he said. "This is Dunlewy Lough." After a pause, the wolfhound continued. Lough means lake. "Why would the faeries bring us back here?" wondered James. "It's cold and misty wet again," stated Robert. The wolfhound said nothing. After breakfast he trotted off. The children packed their big belongings and rushed to catch up with him. When they found him, he was frolicking with a couple of black and white shepherd dogs. A man seemed to be raking or cutting grass clumps. "This is odd," remarked Jane. "Why is he cutting grass?" "Look over here. I don't think he's cutting grass, more like he's harvesting dirt," said Robert. Susan wrinkled her nose. "This is odd," she remarked. One of the dogs came running over to sniff the children. "That's not odd," yipped the dog excitedly as she ran back to the man. "It's peat." "What is peat?" asked James. The children went over to where the man and the dogs were, including the wolfhound. He explained that he harvested peat to heat his home. Peat is a type of wetland made up of decaying vegetation. We call it turf, explained the man. "But it doesn't stink," said James, a bit confused. "Nope," replied the man. "It actually smells quite nice when it's burning, and one brick can burn for about an hour." So the man began. "What you wee ones doing here, and without a proper adult keeping track of you?" "Oh well, it's kind of hard to explain," James said hesitantly. "What he means to say is that, well, we don't exactly know," Jane replied. Shoulders slumped. How could they explain? They simply woke up one morning in a different place, with no idea how they got there. Not here, and not Ireland. "We woke up here," stuttered Robert. The man narrowed his eyes. The wolfhound barked at the man and then trotted up to him, looking him straight in the eyes. After a few moments, the man broke the silence. "Ah, it seems there be fairy magic afoot. What you looking for?" The children held breaths in relief. Did he understand the wolfhound too? "Well, we need blackthorn wood for some sort of shillelagh thing," said Susan hopefully. "Ah, yes, that'd be a shillelagh. You'd need a nice strong piece of wood. Come, I have one I was making up. Not sure why I started, but guess I don't know now." The children looked at him in awe. "Really?" James spoke for all of them. "Indeed I do, lad. I have a good feeling." The four children looked at the wolfhound at the same time. He looked over and barked, and then started following the man. Robert shrugged. "Well, I guess it's okay. He would be snarling if the man was unsafe. Let's go." The soft rain continued, and along the way the kids told the man of their adventures. He quietly listened to everything they had to say. The dogs loped around them as they walked, the smell of wet dog trailing them. "Let's see your map," the man said when they arrived at his house. They could tell he was still trying to decide if he believed them. Robert brought his map out. The man quietly reviewed all their travels. "It's quite an adventure you have." "Yes, we have," chorused the children. The kids stayed with the man the whole day, helping with him whatever he needed in appreciation for his kindness. They each took showers, and he even cleaned their clothes. They laughed when the wolfhound was subjected to a much-needed bath. That night, they pulled out their sleeping bags and slept indoors in a real house for the first time since they arrived in Ireland. I will never take my room for granted again," sighed James. "You know, it's kind of strange," thought Susan aloud. "The wolfhound hasn't spoken to us all day. I wonder if he loses his ability to communicate with us if there are other humans around." They settled in for the night, their tummies full of Irish stew and soda bread. Their bodies were warm and comfortable, the wolfhound curled up between them, and perfect recipe for sleep.